All right, we're going to do a deep dive into one of the most effective and honestly, one of the most personal attacks ever designed. This isn't about targeting your computer with a virus or your network with malware. Nope. This one targets the operating system running in your head, your own brain. We're going to deconstruct the anatomy of a scam, and I'm going to show you precisely how criminals weaponize your most basic survival instincts to get your money. And, more importantly, we're going to equip you with a kind of cognitive firewall to stop them cold. So this isn't just about being aware, it's about really understanding the battlefield inside your own mind.
And that really gets to the heart of the paradox here. The very system that evolved over millennia to keep you safe from a tiger in the grass, well, that's now the #1 vulnerability in a world of digital predators. See, scammers figured out they don't need super sophisticated hacking tools to get into your bank account. They just need the right key to unlock your mind. And that key is this built-in panic switch. They have perfected how to flip it, effectively turning your rational, analytical brain off and turning your panicked, primal brain on. They don't have to break down your door. They just convince you to hold it wide open for them. So let's be crystal clear about what this flaw really is. It has absolutely nothing to do with being weak or unintelligent. In fact, some of the smartest people fall for these scams precisely because their minds are so good at problem solving. This vulnerability, it's a feature, not a bug, of our neurobiology. So in this first part, we're going to take a hard look at this built-in vulnerability. We'll see step by step how scammers pull off what can only be described as a neurobiological attack, systematically using your brain's ancient wiring to make you do things that go against your own best interests. So here's the scammer's real goal: to cause what's known as cognitive regression. They want to force a complete handover of power from your logical mind to your emotional one. Think of it like they're trying to push you down the evolutionary ladder, right? Forcing your complex, analytical brain, the part that weighs evidence and asks good questions, to just completely give up control to your primal brain, which really only gets two things: threat and survival. The whole attack is engineered to make sure you act on pure, raw emotion long before your logical mind has a chance to even wake up and ask, wait a minute, does any of this make sense? Now, to really understand this attack, we have to understand the battlefield. And in this case, the battlefield is all internal. It's your brain under threat. We're talking specifically about the limbic system, that ancient emotional core of your brain where the fear response is born. What scammers are doing isn't just a clever trick, it is a systematic assault on the very mechanics of how you process danger. So let's zoom in on the biology of that fear response. This right here, this is the core mechanism of the attack. It's called an amygdala hijack. Now, your amygdala is this small, almond-shaped thing deep inside your brain. The best way to think of it is as the brain's smoke detector. It's not smart, but it is incredibly fast. Its only job is to sense danger and blast the alarm, reacting first and letting the logical parts of your brain ask questions way later. So when it senses a threat, whether it's a real one or, in this case, a completely manufactured one, it just floods your system with panic. Scammers have basically perfected the art of reaching into your head and manually setting off that smoke detector with a fake fire, triggering this overwhelming emotional response that completely bypasses and shuts down your rational mind. And that hijack sets off a very specific chain reaction, a fear response cascade. It all starts with step 1, the urgent threat. That's the phone call saying a loved one's in jail, or the IRS is about to seize your accounts. This immediately kicks off step 2, amygdala activation. That internal panic switch gets flipped. In response, your body goes into step 3, releasing a flood of stress hormones. You get adrenaline for a burst of energy and cortisol to keep you on high alert. Now, this chemical cocktail is fantastic for, outrunning a predator, but it is absolutely catastrophic when you're making a financial decision. And it leads directly to the final stage, step 4, tunnel vision. Your focus just narrows so intensely on the threat that your brain literally can't process outside information. Skepticism, verification, even simple logic, all of it is just temporarily shut down. And scammers are absolute masters at pushing just the right buttons to trigger this cascade. They use a pretty small but highly effective set of stories. First, there's legal authority. They'll pretend to be the IRS or the FBI, tapping into our natural respect for and fear of the law. The threat of jail is a powerful, primal fear. Second, family crisis. They'll invent a car accident, a kidnapping, anything that targets our most powerful instinct, the need to protect the people we love. And third, high-value scarcity. They'll claim your bank account has been breached and you're going to lose everything unless you act right now, which triggers our deep-seated fear of loss. Each one of these stories is like a key,
perfectly crafted to fit a specific emotional lock in the human brain. Okay, so we've got the biological vulnerability down. Now let's switch gears and get forensic. Let's dissect the scammer's playbook. And it is so important to stop thinking of this as just a trick or a con. We have to see it for what it is, a deliberate, three-stage neurobiological attack executed with the precision of a military operation. So the attack unfolds along this very clear, structured timeline. Stage 1 is initiation. That's the arousal trigger, the thing that kicks off the panic. Stage 2 is escalation. This is where they use cognitive overload and isolation to keep that panic going and even make it worse. And finally, stage 3 is extraction. That's the point where they cash in on the mental state they have so carefully created. Let's break down each one. Stage 1 kicks off with some pretty sophisticated deception that's designed to get past your rational defenses right away. They use technology like VoIP spoofing, which can make your caller ID show your local police department or even your bank's real phone number. They use scripts that mimic the language of these institutions perfectly. And this is all designed to trigger a powerful psychological shortcut we all have called authority bias. Your brain has been trained your entire life to trust these symbols of authority, so you instinctively lower your guard. And that creates the opening they need for the fear to really take hold. Once that initial hook is set, they escalate things immediately. The scammer will hit you with a fire hose of complex, confusing jargon, federal warrants, gag orders, non-traceable transfers. Now, this isn't just to sound official, it is a tactic designed to cause cognitive overload. They just overwhelm your brain's processing capacity so you can't think straight. And then comes the most critical command, the one that builds the cage around you. You cannot hang up this phone. If you disconnect, the warrant will be executed immediately. This move forces total isolation. It cuts you off from the one thing that could save you, getting a second opinion or just a moment of clarity. And right here, this is the crucial tipping point. This is the moment inside the victim's mind where everything changes. Battered by fear, overwhelmed by jargon, trapped in isolation. The brain's critical thinking just gives up. The crisis story is no longer just a story someone is telling you over the phone. It becomes the reality that you are living in. The abstract threat on the other end of the line becomes this real, tangible monster right there in the room with you. At this point, the threat feels 100% real. And this is where the truly twisted genius of the scam becomes clear. The scammer starts the fire. They create the terrifying problem. Then, in this brilliant move of manipulation, they put on a firefighter's helmet and position themselves as the only solution to the fire that they started. The payment they're demanding? It's no longer framed as a financial loss. It is masterfully reframed as the key, the quick fix, the one and only action you can take to make the overwhelming fear and anxiety just stop. They're literally selling you the path back to feeling safe. This brings us to what I call the psychological choke point. It's the combination of two critical demands. First, stay on the line, which keeps up the isolation and the pressure. Second, the demand for an unusual and irreversible payment method, things like gift cards, wire transfers, or cryptocurrency. This is not random. These methods are chosen specifically because they are fast, untraceable, and offer zero buyer protection. This combination is the final lock in the trap, designed to keep you in that heightened state of panic with no time to pause, no chance to think, and absolutely no way to get your money back once it's gone. So why is this attack so devastatingly effective, even against really careful people? Well, to truly get that, we need to go one level deeper and bring in a really powerful psychological framework that explains exactly what's going on inside a hijacked mind. This is the battle between what psychologists call System 1 and System 2 thinking. You can basically think of yourself as having two competing brains. On one side, you've got System 1. This is your animal brain. It's fast, it's intuitive, highly emotional. It operates automatically. It's what makes you jump back from a snake without even thinking about it. On the other side, you have System 2, your human brain. This one's slow, logical, and deliberate. It's the part that analyzes a problem, weighs the options, or thinks through a major life decision. The entire goal of the fear scam is to light up the fast, panicked System 1 and keep your logical, slow System 2 completely offline. They create a crisis so urgent and emotional that your methodical System 2 just never gets a chance to get in the game. And this quote just sums up the psychological result perfectly. The manufactured panic makes the financial loss seem preferable to the immediate, terrifying threat. When your brain is hijacked and locked into System 1 thinking, your whole decision-making process gets warped. The abstract idea of losing a few $1,000s in the future feels completely insignificant compared to the immediate, gut-wrenching threat of going to jail or a loved one being hurt right now.
In that panicked moment, paying the scammer doesn't feel like a bad decision. It feels like the only logical choice to make. The pains stop and feel safe again.
Okay, we have spent a lot of time taking the attack apart. Now let's build the defense. This next section is the most important one. It's not about being smarter or less trusting. It's about installing a mandatory, evidence-based defense protocol in your mind, a series of clear steps you can take to force your brain out of that hijacked state and bring your rational, System 2 thinking back online.
And that brings us to the most important question of this entire explainer. How do you actually override that panic switch? In a moment of sheer terror, when every single instinct is screaming at you to act now, how do you find the mental space to just hit the brakes? Well, the answer, thankfully, isn't complicated, but it's not intuitive either. It requires conscious effort and, most importantly, a pre-planned strategy that you can use without even having to think about it.
Your first line of defense is all about pattern recognition. You need to burn this red flag pattern into your memory. Think of it like a diagnostic checklist. If you ever run into these three things together, it is a 100% ironclad guarantee that you are in the middle of a scam. Number 1, an unsolicited crisis. A call or a text out of the blue about a problem you didn't even know you had. Number 2, a demand for secrecy. An order not to tell anyone, not your spouse, not your bank, nobody. And number 3, an unconventional payment request. A demand for gift cards, crypto, or a wire transfer. Legitimate institutions never work this way. When you see this trifecta, it's not just a red flag. It is a blaring siren. So if that red flag pattern is your alarm system, this next thing is your most powerful weapon, the mandatory 10-second pause. The moment you feel that hot rush of fear and urgency, you have to force yourself to just stop everything. For just 10 seconds, count them out. 1, 1,000, 2, 1,000. Breathe. Do absolutely nothing. This tiny 10-second pause acts like a cognitive circuit breaker. It's just enough time for that initial flood of adrenaline and cortisol to back off a little, and that creates a crack in the wall of panic. And through that crack, your slow, logical System 2 brain can start to come back online. This pause creates the mental space you need to take the final, decisive step. And that final step is the decisive disconnection. The single most powerful scam-killing action you can take is to hang up the phone. That is it. A scammer's power over you is absolute, but it only exists as long as they have you isolated on that call. The moment you disconnect, you shatter their control. Then you take back power on your own terms. Never call back a number they gave you. Instead, independently look up the official public number for the bank, the police, or whatever agency they claim to be, and you call it directly. Or, even better, call a trusted friend or family member and just say these words. Something really strange just happened. Can I talk it through with you? External verification is the ultimate antidote to internal panic. Let's wrap all of this up by forging a simple, powerful mental tool that you can carry with you. Think of this as your protective mantra, the final takeaway that's designed to lock this lesson in and serve as your cognitive security protocol from this day forward. This is the single most important strategic principle to remember. This is your new internal alarm bell. Forget all the details of the story the scammer is telling you. The warrants, the car crashes, the hacked accounts, all of it. Focus only on how they are making you feel. The instant you feel that potent, toxic combination of being rushed and being afraid about a financial matter, you must assume, by default, that your brain is under attack. That feeling itself, urgency plus fear, is the #1 red flag. And so we end with the mantra, your entire defense protocol distilled into a simple command. The next time that phone rings and that panic starts to rise in your chest, remember this. Pause. Force that 10-second circuit breaker. Breathe. Calm your nervous system down. Verify. Disconnect and contact a trusted source independently. And the final unbreakable rule, never, ever pay in panic. Your rational mind is your greatest defense. Your job is just to make sure it's always the one in control.